Good morning. Welcome back to KXAN Live. Thanks for joining us here. Today we have our Kristen's Classroom segment, and with me to kick off this segment is meteorologist Kristen Currie. Kristen, how are you doing this morning?
Pretty good. It's been beautiful weather, so hard to complain with 70s and sunshine, but we know, unfortunately, severe weather right around the corner.
Yeah, we just wrapped up that freezing little temperature week span we had. Now we got to prepare, right?
Yeah, those seasons can come quick here in Central Texas. I'm not seeing any more in the way of winter weather, deep freezes, Arctic cold fronts, none of the sort over the next couple of weeks. And as we get further into March, it gets harder and harder for those Arctic cold fronts to sink this far south. So we figured now is a great time to prepare for severe weather season.
And the unofficial start is going to happen this weekend on Saturday, starting March 1st. Right?
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things where severe weather can happen any day in the calendar year. There is a season when we see more frequent severe weather events, but we kind of caveat it with unofficial start because March, April, May is when our severe weather frequency really starts to ramp up.
Well, what can we expect and how can we start preparing for this?
Yeah, let's get into it. Kristen's Classroom here. So when it comes to severe weather, I will tell you, hail, wind, and tornadoes are what we consider severe. And that's not just KXAN. For a severe thunderstorm to be severe, we're looking at winds 58 miles per hour or stronger. So that would be the wind threshold. Hail about the size of a quarter, 1 inch in diameter or bigger. And a tornado would be, you could get a severe thunderstorm warning with radar indicated, meaning the thunderstorm is spinning, or officially we've got confirmation of a tornado on the ground. So those would be the criteria for severe thunderstorm warning to be issued. Now, when it comes to these storms putting out hail, that tends to peak early May. So it is a gradual ramp up heading into the spring season. Our tornado risk locally actually peaks mid-May. And then wind risk would be late May into June. That's also when we start to see some flooding concerns as well. But when it comes to those severe peaks, again, hail, the May would be the primary month for that, but April is a close second. Tornadoes, most of our tornadoes come in May, but we do see the second most in the month of March. Wind would be May 1st, second most month would be June, and then flooding, again, that would be June, second most in May. What often comes to mind is the fact that tornadoes, we had our most recent severe weather outbreak, our most recent tornado outbreak, March of 2022, where we had the EF2 Round Rock tornado. There were 6 tornadoes in total that day, but that was a March tornado event. The Gerald tornado of 97, that was in May. So everything kind of lines up here when it comes to climatologically, statistically, when we see the most severe weather events here in Central Texas. Couple other random facts. The day with the most severe weather logged here in Central Texas, May 10th. So again, it's a gradual ramp up, most severe time frame. So when are we most likely to see severe weather? Probably doesn't surprise you to see, early evening when we're just coming off the maximum afternoon heating, because these storms really do feed on that afternoon warmth. And we start to get the collision of the air masses, that dry line moving towards the east here. June is typically our busiest for flash flooding, and that would be followed by May and July.
Wow. So you would say that the stormiest month out of the year pretty much is May?
I would think so. If I had to say, if somebody were to come up to me on the street and be like, when's the stormiest? I would always caveat it and say, it can storm any day of the week, but May typically gives us quite a few problems when it comes to tornadoes, hail, in addition to winds, damaging winds. And, we can see some really nasty overnight storms. What comes to mind is last year when we had Johnson City picking up baseball-sized hail late at night. Georgetown, a few years ago, had a baseball-sized hail event in the middle of the night as well. So, I always preface this, and we talk about this on air a lot too, the fact that people think, the evening is the time where we see severe weather. And yes, that's the most likely time, but we can certainly see some severe thunderstorms overnight, severe thunderstorms in the morning and midday. I mean, nothing's off the table here in Central Texas.
Is it common for us to see this severe weather in the afternoon or the evening and it flow into the rest of the next day?
What's interesting with severe weather, the events typically wane with the fact that we're getting cooler at night, and they don't necessarily have every ingredient they need to survive. Now, we have had events where these storms will start in central Texas and then really start to grow as they move east, feeding on Gulf moisture. So that's sometimes when Dixie Alley, sometimes when lower Mississippi Valley gets these big old squall lines. They start along a dry line here in central Texas. And again, a dry line is just a boundary between the desert air in New Mexico and the more humid air coming off the Gulf that sits over Texas. Sometimes these storms will start where we are. They'll move to the east, so our severe weather threat comes down overnight, but then it really starts to ramp up heading towards the east. And I would say in my 5 years here, more often we start to see these storms bubble up around 2, 3, 4 o'clock, and they really get going 6, 7 p.m. Eastern counties, 9, 10 o'clock. And then either they move on into the East Texas region, into Houston, and get more fuel, or there won't be as much fuel and they'll just start to die with the fact that we're losing sunlight.
Wow. Well, personally, I am new here and I'm pretty much have lived by the Gulf of Mexico my entire life. So I'm prepared for severe weather, thinking hurricanes. But that's not what we have here in Austin, right?
That's the next season. That's when it comes, right? We got winter, spring severe weather season, and then hurricane season. Yeah, severe weather, it's a part of our springtime climatology. And I will say we technically had two kind of storm seasons, spring and fall, because fall season can also give us some problems. But just like more emphasis on the fact that we can see some gnarly weather. May has over twice as many tornadoes than any other month. Flash flooding risk doubles late spring. So when we really start to feed into some of that Gulf moisture. The most seen severe weather. So what do these storms, when they do turn severe, what do they typically throw at us? Hail, which I think might surprise a lot of people. We don't tend to get a lot of tornadoes where we are, but we can sure see some nasty hail storms. In fact, just recently we had one of the most costliest hail storms in our history here in Austin. When that severe thunderstorm warning, I want to say September of 2023, if I'm not mistaken. That storm ran all the way down the I-35 corridor. It went from Georgetown to Round Rock to Austin, and it dropped at least quarter-sized hail. And it unfortunately left quite a bit of damage to property. Most thunderstorm wind damage comes in the month of June. And, I will also say it's, something got a little messed up here. Moisture lift and instability is what we're looking for when it comes to those severe weather ingredients. The good news is I don't have anything this week. However, I wanted to put this on your radar. Next Tuesday, so we're looking about a week out, we are already outlooked in East Texas, parts of Louisiana, into Mississippi, even Arkansas, for a risk of severe weather. So Mother Nature, she wastes no time when it comes to severe weather. We currently are not in that here in Central Texas. However, because we're 7 days out, what I have seen is this is where that risk kind of is bullseye. Once we get closer to Tuesday, maybe we have just a 1 out of 5 risk or a 2 out of 5 risk. That's going to be something that we'll have to keep a close eye on, because I do think, we already have some storm chances in the 7-day on Tuesday. Although this looks more likely to be a problem further east of us, we could get clipped with a couple of these stronger thunderstorms next week.
Wow. Well, we do have your article that you recently published on our website, kxan.com, and in here is all the information we talked about today, as well as those very helpful graphics. Where can people stay updated when it comes to severe weather notifications or alerts?
Yeah, I will tell you, we take this very seriously here at KXAN. We usually double up on staffing when we have severe weather events. So be sure to tune in. Trust us, we'll get you through it. The KXAN weather app is a phenomenal resource for you when it comes to getting those alerts, whether it be a severe thunderstorm watch, a severe thunderstorm warning, tornado warning, flash flood watch. All of those you'll get through the app, as long as your settings are turned on and your notification is set correctly. But we got you covered. We got you covered heading into severe weather season.
Well, thanks so much for sharing this information with us, Kristen. If anyone else is interested in taking a look or recapping this video, it'll be on our website on the homepage. Easy to find. Thank you for joining us, Kristen.
Of course. I'll see you next week.